Hello, my name is Paul and this is Reloader123. This is the first of many installments of my Reloader series that I'm presenting to you on YouTube. I'm going to be real brief and tell you a little bit about my story. This started as a plan for a Facebook group, and I was on a group with a number of different people who kept talking about wanting to learn more about reloading. They didn't know where to get the information, they don't know how to do it. So I thought about this for a while, and I thought, you know, I've been doing this for goodness, I guess about 25 years now, and I thought, gosh, I could help these guys out. So I put out a quick little blurb on Facebook that said, hey, if anybody's interested in a reloading class, let me know. I'm thinking about doing something at my house, 20 bucks a person, 12 people maximum, and the response was just completely overwhelming. So what started there actually manifested itself to YouTube. So as you could maybe be able to tell, this is my shop, my garage, and this is North Idaho with snow up and over the top of the window behind me. So it's time to reload. It's winter time. So let's just jump right in. I want to tell you a little bit about why you should be reloading. Give you some options to think about. So if you're actually reloading already, welcome to an exclusive club. There's very few of us that are out there doing it. Most people are wishing they could do it. Not very many are engaging. You know, one of the reasons why people reload is just to start saving money. And in the second installment, you're going to see, which should already be posted, you're going to see a very definitive cost breakdown with 4 different calibers. So I'm going to save that section for later, but it's going to explain very specifically what you're going to save and frankly what you're not going to save when it comes to reloading. The second reason is people want to develop a load and tailor a load specifically for a purpose. For example, it might be self-defense, it might be competition, it might be accuracy, it might be an IPSC power factor they're trying to achieve. They simply might be reducing costs like we talked about before. There may be a situation where it's a hard to find caliber. It might be a 3240, you know, WCF. It may be something 32 special, maybe something very out of the ordinary, and you want to be able to reload not only better, but at a more reasonable cost. Maybe ammo availability. It may be a situation where you're in, let's say, California, and there's very limited of certain types of ammunition. It could be regulations that, for another example is California, that they're limiting the types of ammunition that you can buy and the quantities you can buy. Maybe you have a match and you need to actually reload more than they allot you to purchase every month, or however it works. It may be a situation where you're simply creating something new. You may be one of those crazy wildcat guys, or you may be like myself and a friend of mine, Alex, who we sat down and really tried to figure out how much shot we could fit in, you know, those 44 shot capsules to take care of snakes when we were backpacking. It could be any number of things. And for me personally, aside from all the cost savings and the improvements in accuracy, it simply becomes enjoyable and relaxed. So I want to put this in perspective to you. I want to start at the end of the process and show you the 4 components that go into making reloading right now. So with these 4 components that you're looking at, it's simple measured quantity of powder based on a recipe that you pull out of a book, put into a case that has been primed. The bullet is then seated and crimped. So it's a very simple process. It's these 4 components. There's a little bit involved in terms of picking the components and things like that. We're going to unpack that in later installments. But first, this video is specifically just to talk to you about the whys, and then I want to end with safety. So let's talk a little bit about safety. As you can see, I have a number of different reference books available. I highly suggest you to become a student of reloading. Get magazines like Hand Loader. Take a look at the Lyman book. This happens to be the book right behind me. This book's a fantastic book for beginners. It has a great how-to section. It tells you all about powder selection and bullets and a number of different things like that. So I would highly encourage this book. There's a number of different good books out there, but this is a great book. This happens to be the hardback version, but the softback version is very comparable. So I would make sure that you're staying in tune. Let me show you one other thing. So take a look at this recall alert. by being a student of reloading, I stumbled across this page that actually identifies the powder IMR 4007 with certain lot numbers. Powders are made in individual lots. And with this individual lot that they listed, I had just bought some 4007 and I thought, my goodness, I need to check that out. So here you go. Here's a picture of IMR 4007. And it just happens that this is one of the unsafe, possibly unsafe powders that IMR is suggesting that you dispose of. And if there's any question of how to dispose of powder, we'll talk about that a little bit, but basically you just get it wet and it's inert. And then of course, they were very good folks and they said, hey, send back the information that you've got and we'll send you a brand new pound of powder. So with that in mind, I highly suggest you to be a student and really make this a labor of love. Also, so your reloading is going to require a certain amount of time. I would suggest that you escape into kind of your safe place, here in your shop, in your garage, in your basement, and just take the time to reload. Try to give it your undivided attention. Clearly you need to be, hopefully you understand you need to be alert and in tune without kids screaming and people talking to you. And sometimes for me, I don't even have the radio going. It's just kind of my quiet time. No drinking of alcohol, no drugs. I would highly suggest that you avoid any kind of thing that can inhibit your ability to make good decisions and to stay tuned. Also, wear your safety glasses. I don't use them all the time, but I certainly wear them when I'm handling primers and doing the priming stage. Much of the other stages aren't as dangerous, but of course things can pop up and flick into your eye. I would highly suggest you use eyeglasses all the time or safety glasses, but at a minimum, use it when you are priming your cases. Also, let's talk a little bit about the preparation. As you can see, I have a press right to my left, and my table is right behind me. Keep your table clean and avoid of too much junk. Inevitably, you're going to knock something over when you're reaching for something. You're going to bump your powder measure that you just set up perfectly. So I would highly suggest that you take some time, make sure you're sweeping your table off with like a whisk broom. I would use something along these lines. Do not vacuum. If you start vacuuming, the static inside your vacuum can create an potentially explosive situation. When you collect your powder, make sure you soak it real well. And really, I would just dedicate some time. So when you say, you're going to go out in the shop and do some reloading, make that an hour, 2 hours, but dedicate some time and then have an idea what you want to accomplish. It's okay if you don't accomplish that, of course, but make sure that the people that know that you're reloading and you're going to be out there for a couple hours and you'd not like to be bothered. So the last thing I would say is have components ready. So by having components ready, you're going to be able to do whatever task that you've got to do all at once. If you want to reload 20 cases for a test fire, you want to have your brass ready, primers, bullets, and powder. You really don't want to stop anywhere in the process if you could avoid it. Once you're a little bit more skilled and in tune with what's going on, I think that there's some areas that you can stop that are convenient places to stop. But until then, we're going to be doing smaller batches and stay focused, have everything ready to go. So with that, the next section is going to talk about why reload in terms of cost savings and your return on investment. And then the section number 3, if you're already convinced you want to reload and it's not about the money, then you can go right into the basic tools, and we're going to dive right in with the press, the die, etc., each individual component. So thank you. Again, this is Paul, Reloading123. Have a great afternoon.